It's Valentine's Day. I hope we can get this thing edited and released and everything on Valentine's Day, or I'll look an absolute twat. And so we're going to be using the 13th Elysium's Dead or Alive characters tier list to make this waifu tier list. Yeah, it's really hard to find one that actually includes all the DOA girls. Normally it's just the DOA 6 roster, or it's just DOA Extreme Venus Vacation, which means that a bunch of the best characters aren't even on there. Like, Tina never made the cut for DOA X3 and thus didn't make it into Venus Vacation, but jailbreaking honkers did. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Japanese have fucking shit taste. And it can't be disputed anymore, because Dead or Alive Extreme Venus Vacation is proof, because they're putting all these fucking shit tier OCs instead of putting in Lisa or Tina. It's fucking lucky that Lei Fang made it in eventually. It's fucking trash. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the ladies of DOA, and that includes the guests and the Extreme Venus Vacation characters that I know fuck all about, because I don't care. The only one that really has any relevance is Tamaki, because she made it into DOA 6 as a DLC character, although I think unlike the two SNK guest characters, she didn't actually get any story, so that still tells us nothing about this character. Maybe the devs are trying to figure out how the timeline works, because it's really unclear with Venus Vacation and DOA 6, which I've discussed in another video, but anyway, let's finally get to it. So, to begin with, you have to have Best Girl. You can't dispute this. If you disagree, you are wrong. Go lie in a pit somewhere. Now, there are some other characters who come very close. Hitomi's just a fun character. She cares about her friend Ayn, even though he does not deserve the amount of adoration and respect that she has for him, or that anyone has for him, because he's a huge prick. Like, if I was doing a husbando tier list, that boy would be way further down. Because fuck him, he doesn't look after his sister, and people need to look after Kasumi. She's a good girl. Speaking of Kasumi, I wasn't sure I'd put her in top. I'd definitely put her in good. I don't know about top tier. I like her well enough. It's just she doesn't really have much in the way of personality. Is a bit of a problem. You know, I think if we finally reached the point now where she said, "Fuck it, I don't want to go home." You know, if she had some resentment towards her clan, who have all just completely written her off, even though she's the only one with enough balls to do anything about the guy who stole their sacred ninja technique and was working for the villains, and she went to avenge her crippled brother, because no one else was willing to do that. She's the only one who had the balls to do it, and that makes her the bad guy, I guess. Fuck 'em. The Mugen Tenshin can die in a fire. It's kind of a shame, actually, because I think that is the way Itagaki was going to take DOA 5. That was going to be the plot, that the Mugen Tenshin got wiped out by Doatek. Ah, what a better world that would have been, eh? Now, Mila is absolutely in top tier. You can't dispute that one either. She has a lot in common with Hitomi, actually. I'd say of all the characters introduced since the switch over from Itagaki to Hayashi, I'd say Mila's probably the best character they've got. I mean, you know, Diego's fine. Rick had potential, but they completely squandered it in 6. And then, fucking all these. Now, Eleanor is gorgeous, so you have to put her up there too. Especially in that outfit she has in 6. I think of all the characters going from 5 to 6, she's the one who got the best redesign. Some characters, like I don't think Mila even changed outfit, and Hitomi just switched to one of her alternates. I think the only other character whose new design really compares to that, I'm quite fond of Tina's. Lei Fang's is okay, and Elliot's is good, but everyone else is meh. Now I'm going to say, yeah, Tina can go in top tier. Tina's actually one of the few characters who actually achieves anything. It's a weird thing because she's very fickle, so her goal in every game is completely different. She's always after a different thing. But at least that means she can actually achieve her goals. She can actually get stuff done. Everyone else is, I want to do this. I want to take down Doatek, or I want to kill this person. And you can't, because that's too big a change. You know, you can't kill another playable character. You can't, unless they're a final boss, of course. You can't have a big change to the status quo. Whereas Tina, because hers is so small scale, she can make good on her plans and actually get stuff done. Although they kind of bungled that with 6, where it's like she wants to go into politics, and then it's only addressed in one cutscene in the story where Zack's like, but you are too young. You legally can't do that. And she's like, oh well, I guess I give up on that. It's like, dude, come on. Now, Ayanna is an interesting one because I've always had a lot of disdain for her. I liked her story in 3. I thought that was one of the best plots they ever did for the series. And I was never too fond of her. But I feel like when you remove her from regular interaction with Kasumi, she's actually not that bad. She's still very full of herself, but that's fine. It is a character flaw that does get into trouble a bunch of times, but yeah, I think it's because her most negative trait is the fact that she's such a bitch to Kasumi. Like, no matter how much their relationship develops, she's still always ready to fight her. I mean, you can maybe argue DOA 6 was meant to be like a point where that's not the case, and that's why she had to go into some kind of berserk state, or whatever the fuck that was, to justify the fight. Yeah, she's okay. She's fine when she's removed from regular interaction with Kasumi, because then she just gets to be her own character, not defined by wanting to kill her own sister, even though the motivations behind that are actually kind of interesting in a way that most other characters in the series don't have interesting motivations. Leifang is okay. She's fine. Not particularly good or bad. I do miss the elegant dresses she had prior to DOA 6. But it was time for a change, but I like her to have an outfit that flows well with her movements. It's a very nice aesthetic. The outfit type wasn't the problem. It was the fact that she was the same fucking dress every game from DOA 2 onwards, aside from maybe a colour change. But I'm grateful they did give her a new outfit, because some characters... Well, I'm grateful they gave her a new outfit that's good, because some characters don't change outfits and some of them just get... Why all the ninjas are in bodysuits now, I don't know, and I don't like it. Christy doesn't really stand out anymore. There's not much to her anymore, because once the revelation that she killed Eleanor's mother happened, and then Eleanor did not kill her in turn, all of a sudden she's just not... Now she just works for Donovan and that's it. What drives her to work for Donovan? Is it just the money? Is it because she's a sadist and likes to fuck with Eleanor? We don't know. She's also... I think she was the only character in the base roster of 5 who didn't get to win any fights in the story, and that's just embarrassing. Lisa, I would say, is bad. Because the thing about Lisa is her character is so impossible to properly grasp. So it started off that she was just some woman who had been hired by Zack to basically be a secretary on New Zack Island. I just realised that Nikki is not in this, because this is just the playable characters. Nikki would be in Trash Tier, by the way. So she's just hired to work for Zack, and then she shows up in DOA 4 as a luchador to hide her identity for whatever reason, because she has some ties to Doatech, and then it turns out she was a scientist who worked on the Alpha Project and the Epsilon Project. And probably by extension Omega as well, though that's not really confirmed. And then she's just going around as a fucking luchador, but she's also a Doatech scientist. But then she's working for Mist, but she's kind of maybe working secretly plotting against Donovan, but or maybe it's just that she has a change of heart during the events of DOA 5, and then I don't even remember what she does in 6. I remember she showed up in the story in her like fighting stance, bouncing around like she does in high heels, and I was like, that looks dangerous, and that's it. She's a baffling character. You know, she's like Julia in Tekken, where she's constantly changing. There's always something completely new with it. That's similar to Tina, but Tina's at least always got the core of being a wrestler, whereas Julia's always got these very different things going on. It's just that with Lisa, it's all happening at once, and it's impossible to ascertain what the deal with her character is. And it never gives off the impression that that is the point, that she's supposed to be an enigma. It just feels like they don't know what to do with her. I guess they just felt they need more villains or something. I don't know. Kokoro, I have to put in don't care, because she's also not got too much personality. She's somewhat defiant when it comes to her mother and the lifestyle her mother expects her to have, but it's such a weird thing. Her mother works for Doatech. I think she works for Donovan currently, and her half sister, who she learned about during DOA 4, is the head of Doatech. But these two plot threads have fuck all to do with each other. Honestly, she's like Steve Fox. You know, he was experimented on by the Mishima Zaibatsu, and his mother Nina works for the Zaibatsu, but those plot threads never connect, even though it's the most natural thing in the world for that to happen. So we're just jumping back and forth between different plot points. I mean, there's just nothing for Kokoro. She's just, I want to have fun and fight people, so I'm going to go against my mother's wishes, and then I'm going to try and find out what the deal with Eleanor is, but then give up immediately. Why is she here? This bitch can go in fucking trash. Alpha 152 was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in a fighting game when she debuted in DOA 4, because that boss was ridiculously difficult for no reason. That alone really pissed me off, because I remember at one point Itagaki said that there weren't any plans for DOA 5 because he felt that the team had made the perfect fighting game with DOA 4. And I'm like, bitch, please. The lowest difficulty is normal, and then you have a super broken boss who can take like half your health off with one combo because the floor fucking explodes when she knocks you over. Fucking asshole. Plus she's got no character, so you know. I mean, I've read somewhere that Phase 4 and False Kasumi from DOA 5, they are alpha. They're all supposed to be the same character. I don't know where that information is supposed to be conveyed, because I never got that impression. I'm going to put Momiji in top tier. She is a faithful companion to our boy Ryu Hayabusa. Okay, well, I'm about to criticize Rachel for being too much of a damsel in her debut game, but Momiji's not much better. But I guess she does show up to try and help. I'll put her in good and Rachel in don't care, because they're very similar, but at least Momiji still shows up in Ninja Gaiden every now and then. I would like either of these characters to have an actual story appearance in DOA, just so we can get a feel for what they're up to outside of the Ninja Gaiden stuff. Now I'm going to put in... nah. I just don't like Marie or Honoka, and the amount of focus those two have gotten since their debuts in DOA 5's re-releases really bugs me. They get way too much focus and are the main focus for much of DOA 6's main narrative, and I just can't stand them. There's always been an anime influence on DOA, there's no denying that, especially when you look at the art style for DOA 2 through Dimensions, particularly with the women, like they had big anime eyes. The faces were all very similar, so there's a clear anime influence. That's bound to happen in pretty much any Japanese media, let's be honest. But I feel like once Hayashi took over, the anime shit got way too much. And you saw it in Ninja Gaiden as well, where Ninja Gaiden 3's plot is just this ridiculous, over-the-top, whatever the fuck is going on there. Compared to the much simpler plots of the previous games where, yeah, they weren't anything special, but, you know, at least you didn't fight, like, the little girl who turned to this, like, fucking Evangelion-style abomination at the end. And then you have fucking jailbaiting honkers down here just doing their anime shenanigans, and I don't care for it. And it's also just really weird to me that these two characters were clearly, if not for the fact that DOA Dimensions wasn't allowed to be released in certain countries in Europe because some of the characters were under 18 and were being sexualized anyway, thus every character has to be at least 18 now, these two characters would not be 18. Like, Marie would be like 15 at most, and Honoka would probably be 16, despite the fact that she's designed to have the biggest tits in the series. Yeah, I read that somewhere, that Honoka actually has bigger tits than either Rachel or Tina. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed. She wears a school uniform, for fuck's sake. And then you got the absolutely awful squeaky voices they have. It's not as bad in the English version, but that's just another example of the bullshit anime influence, where I'm like, I can't stand to listen to them. And then you play Warriors All-Stars, and those two characters only exist with Japanese audio, and I'm like, why are these two champions who are going to fight armies? The series really went downhill after Itagaki left. It really did. Speaking of which, sorry Nico, but don't care about you either. What is it with the scientists in this series and being so weird and dumb? Like, here's one who is also moonlighting as a luchador, and you've seen the outfit she wears, especially this one from 6. Like, it wouldn't look out of place on Christy from Tekken, right? So she moonlights as a fucking luchador, and she's very poppy, very peppy when she's in her luchador persona, but she's also a serious scientist. And then you have this character who's like allegedly 18. She has bright blue hair, has these weird like electric gauntlets or powers, I'm still not sure, and she's a fucking Lolita in a lab coat, and she's working on the project to bring people back from the dead, including Cyborg Rydo and then Eleanor's dead mother. And I'm like, this is so weird and dumb, and the series has no forward momentum with its narrative anymore, and so they're just throwing in like weird shit like this. Like, the best part of DOA 6's story is when Eleanor just fucking slaps Nico across the face, just fucking belts her one because she fucking deserves it for being such a shit character. And while I'm at it, I can't really justify putting these characters in fucking trash because they don't frustrate me to that level. Because the thing about the DOA X3 characters is, I don't care about them. I don't care enough to get that annoyed. It's frustrating that the game keeps adding more and more characters, but it doesn't feel the need to bring back the characters that got dropped. It doesn't feel the need to bring back Tina, one of the characters who's been in the series since the beginning. It doesn't feel the need to bring her back. No. It just adds all these other brand new OCs. And, I was looking up some visual novels on Steam yesterday, and I was going through it. I had this realization that I look at these character designs, and they're all such nothing design. They're so generic, boring anime designs, and I'm like, I can't justify ever giving these visual novels a try because the character designs are just not appealing in any way because they're so boring and flat. And I look at these characters and I get the exact same vibe. The only one that stands out at all is this weird Oni girl, and that's because she's an Oni girl. That's weird and out there, and that's it. I mean, Tamaki looks okay, but I think that's mainly because she actually has a proper outfit of her own because she's in the fighting games now. Her outfit design is not defined by fucking swimsuits. So Tamaki goes in don't care. But that's a high don't care along with these three. It's not like the low don't care that's like bordering on bad like these ones, if that makes any sense. And throw in that character as well. She's kind of like the poster girl for Venus Vacation alongside these two. Her design is a little bit more appealing than those two, but not by much. Now, I love Phase 4's moveset. It's basically a faster version of Kasumi's moveset, and Kasumi already had a really good moveset anyway, so having basically that but faster, that's really cool. Problem is, they squandered all the potential this character had when they turned into a mass-produced model for DOA 6, even though they're only in like 2 scenes and nothing interesting is done with it. Like, you have Hayate and Ayanna who are just cutting down Kasumi clones that have her face, right? Hayate has no problem cutting down these girls that have the face of his sister, and that's fucked up. So they didn't do anything interesting with it. So all the potential Phase 4 had is completely squandered. So I can't justify putting her in good, unfortunately. See, you have to put her in don't care because she's not bad. It's just the way she's been handled is. So again, it's like, I might need to start adding another category to these things. But as it stands, Phase 4 has to go in don't care. She's severely underutilized. Yeah, we couldn't do anything interesting with the Kasumi clones. I mean, I guess you could say it's better that they don't focus on Kasumi clones again for the 3rd fucking game in a row. But at the same time, what did we have instead? Cyborg Rydo. Who gives a shit? Rydo's not even really a character. He's a plot device to get Kasumi's story in the 1st game going. That's it. The events of the series are kicked off by this guy, but he has no personality. So exploring these clones and the implications of the cloning and such would be way more interesting than bringing back a character who's been dead since the 1st game and no one's given a shit about him since. Nyo Tengu is fine. She don't have anything particularly interesting, but she's got a good design. She is a fun transformation to use in Neo 2, and that's it. I mean, I guess I can say that at least by having her, we didn't have to suffer through the resurrection of Bankotsubo, and then he comes back to retain that moveset. No, they gave his moveset to a female equivalent, and that is at least more interesting than bringing the dead character back from the dead. And for 5 minutes, I still can't get over the fact that Rydo comes back from the dead for 5 minutes and then dies again. What was the point? Now all that's left is the guest characters. So we're going to start with Rio from Dead or Alive Paradise, or Extreme Paradise. I think it's just Paradise. Well, it's the PSP port of DOAX 2, I believe. I mainly know her through Warriors All Stars, where she's quite fun. I would say she's an upper good one because she is a fun character. You know what? Fuck it. She's going up there. She's a fun character to have around. I tried watching her anime, but it wasn't that interesting. But when she's in All Stars, throwing giant dice around and twatting people, she's fun. Although one of the funny things about this actually is that that's her artwork from All Stars. But when they put her into DOA, whatever the fuck, on PSP, they did actually give her a design that was more in line with the DOA art style at the time, which is kind of what they did here with the characters from 5 and 6. Except for Naotora, she's pretty much just directly from Samurai Warriors, because Koei Tecmo's got kind of a more unified art style with a lot of their franchises now. So yeah, just a fun little fact. Now we have Nicole. I bet a lot of people watching this had no idea that the Spartan in DOA 4, if they even knew there was a Spartan in DOA 4, is actually a girl. Yeah, it's Nicole's a female Spartan with a Spartan number that simply does not exist in the canon, because there's only 300 of them and she's number 450 odd, I think. Unfortunately, she doesn't have anything in the way of character, except that she will defend the space station she's on. Because I remember there was a cutscene when I was doing a time attack run as Kasumi, and she was just there. And in the cutscene, like, the one time that ever popped for me was during that run, where she just shows up and says, "Alright, get the fuck out and I'm going to beat you up." I think it would be interesting to see what she looks like underneath the armour, just to see what they would have done with the design. And I think it would have been cool if they could have brought her moveset into Dead or Alive Dimensions and just given it to Samus, instead of just putting a Metroid Other M stage in. So Nicole, there's not really anything to say about her in terms of her character because she doesn't really have any. She's an original character rather than a traditional guest character. She's like Jin and Ren Hayabusa in Neo. It's clearly based on Ryu Hayabusa, but it's not actually him, it's a new character based on him. And so this isn't an actual Halo character, it's one based on the Spartans from Halo. It's a shame she didn't have the fucking Hayabusa armor though as an alternate costume, that would have been rad. Now I know nothing about Pai-chan, because unlike Akira and Sarah, she was not in DOA 5 story mode, and we don't get much in the way of characterization for Sarah there. I know bits and pieces about the Virtua Fighter story. She's at least got an interesting arc that is basically the same one as Nina Williams and Cammy White. I don't know why like the blonde brainwashed assassin lady is such a recurring thing in Japanese fighting games, but it is. It is. Naotora is a character that frustrates me partly because she's been in so many fucking games now. Because she debuted in Sengoku Musou Chronicles 2nd, then she was in Samurai Warriors 4, 4-2, Chronicles 3, 4 Empires, Spirits of Sanada, Warriors Orochi 4, Warriors All Stars, Dead or Alive 5, and I think she's been in like a 10th game, and she's always had the same design, and her personality is frustrating to say the least, because her thing is that she apologizes, and this isn't like, say, you know, Sophitia, where she like does certain moves and then apologizes. No, this is just every goddamn thing she does, she will apologize for. It's like, my god, woman, you are one of the few historical women to ever lead a samurai clan, even if just for a short time. Grow a fucking backbone. You could do with one, given how big those tits are. It must be agony on your spine. Grow a fucking spine, woman. I don't know why she's so popular. She's not a bad character, but prolonged exposure to her is really bad, so I'm going to put her in bad. If she was in less stuff, or she could actually go through some kind of development in one of her appearances so that she apologizes less, that'd be nice. The most tolerable she ever was, I think it was like an event in Samurai Warriors Chronicles 3, where she's hanging out by a lake with Masamune, and she falls into the lake, and then she comes out and her personality's been completely inverted. I think that also happened to her in one of the DLC stages in one of the Samurai Warriors 4 games, when a bunch of characters were under like evil ninja influence and had their personalities inverted. I think she was one of them, and when she's actually like brash and hot-headed, she's way more tolerable. She's almost like the Sengoku Basara version, only like not a man-hating piece of shit. So, and then we have the SNK characters, and I know nothing about Kula, unfortunately. I've seen Mai exclusively in King of Fighters Destiny, and even then she's not in it much. From what I've gleaned, her entire character seems to be she wants to fuck Andy Bogard, but he doesn't want to fuck her, but she won't take no for an answer. And I wonder if we saw like a gender-swapped SNK universe, would people like her quite so much? Because then she'd just be like some Chad dude with like a massive cock who's just constantly hitting on this woman who wants nothing to do with it, who doesn't want to fuck him, but he won't take no for an answer. All of a sudden this character doesn't seem like a very nice person, do they? Now maybe Mai actually is a deeper character than that. Maybe not. I don't know. All I've seen of her is that she's kind of fucking trash, and I don't want nothing to do with that. So, happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for stopping in and listening to me air out my many grievances with Dead or Alive and other series that are tangentially connected to it, such as SNK, Samurai Warriors. But yeah, I think it's these three that the only parts of this entire tier list that are honestly all that relevant. The rest of it, just forget about it. These are the important ones. Hitomi is best girl, Mila is a close second, Eleanor, Tina and Rio are up there. These characters are pretty good, everyone else is just fucking trash. Get rid.